The night of March 8, 2014 began like any other. The bustling Kuala Lumpur International Airport was alive with the usual activity, a hub of human stories converging in one place. At Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was being prepared. Ground crew meticulously checked every detail, ensuring the aircraft was ready for its journey. The Boeing 777 was bound for Beijing, China, carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members. Each passenger had their own story, their own reason for being on that flight. Among them were families going home, tourists eager to explore, and business people on their way to meetings. The airport was filled with farewells and anticipation, a microcosm of human emotion. At 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 lifted off into the darkness. The plane ascended smoothly, its powerful engines cutting through the night sky. It was a routine flight, or so it seemed. The passengers settled in, some dozing off, others engrossed in in-flight entertainment, unaware of the fate that awaited them. Little did anyone know that this seemingly ordinary journey would soon transform into one of the most baffling mysteries in aviation history. The night sky, vast and indifferent, held secrets that would soon unravel. The flight was captained by 53-year-old Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. His experience and calm demeanor were reassuring to all who knew him. He was joined by First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, a 27-year-old pilot who was completing his final training flight. This was a significant milestone in his career, a moment of pride and accomplishment. The first leg of the journey was uneventful. The plane cruised smoothly, the hum of the engines a constant backdrop to the passengers' activities. MH370 climbed to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet and maintained a steady course towards Vietnamese airspace. The night was clear, the flight path routine. Then, at 1:19 a.m., the unimaginable happened. A routine handover from Malaysian to Vietnamese air traffic control was expected, but something went terribly wrong. As MH370 approached Malaysian and Vietnamese air traffic control, its transponder, which transmits the plane's location, altitude, and speed, went silent. The blip representing the plane vanished from radar screens. Air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur tried desperately to contact the aircraft, but their calls were met with chilling silence. The usual protocols were followed, but there was no response. MH370 had vanished from radar screens. The sudden disappearance was both alarming and perplexing, defying the expectations of seasoned professionals. Confusion and panic rippled through air traffic control centers as they scrambled to understand what had happened. The initial disbelief quickly turned into a frantic search for answers. Had there been a catastrophic failure? Theories began to form, each more unsettling than the last. Was this a deliberate act? The possibility of foul play could not be ruled out, adding a layer of fear and uncertainty. The answers seemed lost in the vast expanse of the night sky. The ocean below, dark and unyielding, seemed to swallow the plane whole. The disappearance of MH370 was not just a tragedy, it was an enigma that would captivate the world and spark one of the most complex and costly searches in history. The global community watched, united in their quest for answers. The world watched in disbelief as the mystery of MH370 unfolded. News channels broadcasted updates around the clock, each new piece of information dissected and analyzed. How could a sophisticated aircraft equipped with multiple communication systems simply disappear without a trace? The technology that was supposed to ensure safety and connectivity had seemingly failed. The search for answers began, a search that would span continents, consume years, and challenge our understanding of aviation safety and technology. International teams collaborated, pooling resources and expertise in an unprecedented effort. What happened to MH370 remains a mystery to this day, a chilling reminder of the unpredictable nature of life and the vastness of the world we inhabit. The families of those on board continue to seek closure, their lives forever changed by that fateful night. The disappearance of MH370 was not an instantaneous event, but rather a gradual unfolding of perplexing occurrences. It was a series of baffling events that left investigators and the world in a state of confusion and despair. Each piece of information that emerged only added to the enigma, creating a complex puzzle that seemed almost impossible to solve. By meticulously piecing together radar data, satellite communications, and other fragmented clues, investigators were able to construct a chilling timeline of the flight's final hours. This timeline, however, did not bring clarity. Instead, it deepened the mystery, raising more questions than it answered. The painstaking process of analyzing every bit of data was like assembling a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, each fragment hinting at a larger, more sinister picture. A timeline that deepened the mystery rather than providing answers. The more the investigators delved into the details, the more they realized how little they truly understood about what had transpired. The disappearance of MH370 became a haunting enigma, a ghost flight that left behind a trail of unanswered questions and heartbroken families. At 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, its departure seemingly routine and unremarkable. The passengers and crew had no inkling of the fate that awaited them. The flight was expected to be a straightforward journey to Beijing, a route that had been flown countless times without incident. For the first 38 minutes of the flight, everything appeared normal. The aircraft climbed to its cruising altitude, and the pilots communicated regularly with air traffic control. The passengers settled in for the journey, unaware of the impending disaster. MH370 maintained its planned flight path and altitude, communicating routinely with air traffic control. The flight seemed to be progressing as expected, with no signs of trouble. The calm and routine nature of these early moments would soon be shattered by a series of inexplicable events. Then, at 1:07 a.m., the aircraft's ACARS, which automatically transmits data about the plane's systems to the ground, ceased transmitting. This sudden silence was unusual and concerning. ACARS is a critical system that provides real-time information about the aircraft's status, and its abrupt cessation raised immediate red flags. This was unusual but not necessarily a cause for alarm. There could be technical reasons for the ACARS to stop transmitting, such as a malfunction or a deliberate shutdown. However, in the context of what was to follow, this event took on a more ominous significance. ACARS could malfunction or be deliberately switched off. The possibility of deliberate action added a layer of complexity to the investigation. If someone had intentionally disabled the system, it suggested a premeditated plan, but the motive and identity of the person responsible remained elusive. At 1:19 a.m., as MH370 was about to enter Vietnamese airspace, the last verbal communication from the cockpit was received by Malaysian air traffic control. This communication was routine, a standard handover message that gave no indication of the drama that was about to unfold. It was a routine handover message with the co-pilot saying, "Good night Malaysian 370. These words, seemingly ordinary, would become the last known transmission from the doomed flight. The calm and professional tone of the message belied the chaos that was about to ensue. These words, seemingly ordinary, would become the last known transmission from the doomed flight. The calm and professional tone of the message belied the chaos that was about to ensue." The routine nature of this final communication added to the mystery, as there was no hint of distress or trouble. 2 minutes later at 1:21 a.m., MH370's transponder, which broadcasts the plane's identification and location, was manually deactivated. This deliberate action, coupled with the plane's deviation from its planned flight path, immediately raised red flags. The transponder is a crucial piece of equipment that allows air traffic control to track the aircraft, and its deactivation suggested a deliberate attempt to evade detection. This deliberate action, coupled with the plane's deviation from its planned flight path, immediately raised red flags. The sudden change in course was not a minor deviation, but a sharp turn that took the aircraft off its intended route. This unexpected maneuver indicated that someone in the cockpit was making calculated decisions. MH370 had turned west, deviating sharply from its intended course towards Beijing. This unexpected turn was the first indication that something was seriously wrong. The aircraft's new trajectory took it back across the Malay Peninsula, a route that made no logical sense given its original destination. The aircraft flew back across the Malay Peninsula, passing over Penang Island before turning south towards the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean. This new course took the plane into a remote and desolate area, far from any potential landing sites. The choice of this route suggested a deliberate attempt to disappear. This deliberate change in course, executed with precision, suggested that someone in the cockpit was in control. The level of skill required to navigate the aircraft in this manner indicated that the person responsible was highly trained. However, the motive behind these actions remained a mystery. What remained unknown was why. The reasons behind the deliberate actions taken on board MH370 were shrouded in mystery. Was it a hijacking, a pilot suicide, or something else entirely? The lack of concrete evidence left room for endless speculation and theories. The last confirmed contact with MH370 occurred at 8:11 a.m. when the aircraft's satellite communication system automatically handshaked with a ground station. This handshake indicated that the plane was still airborne, but it did not provide information about its location. The vastness of the Indian Ocean made it incredibly difficult to pinpoint the aircraft's exact position. This handshake indicated that the plane was still airborne, but it did not provide information about its location. The vastness of the Indian Ocean made it incredibly difficult to pinpoint the aircraft's exact position. The search area was immense, and the lack of precise data made the task of locating the wreckage a monumental challenge. Based on the limited data available, it is believed that MH370 flew for several more hours, possibly running out of fuel before crashing into the southern Indian Ocean. The aircraft's final moments remain a subject of intense speculation. Did it glide smoothly into the water, or did it plummet uncontrollably? The lack of definitive answers has left a void that continues to haunt the families of those on board. The lack of a distress call, the deliberate disabling of communication systems, and the inexplicable change in course all pointed towards a chilling possibility. MH370's disappearance was not an accident. The deliberate actions taken on board suggested a premeditated plan, but the true motive and the identity of those responsible remain unknown. The mystery of MH370 continues to captivate and baffle, a haunting reminder of how little we sometimes understand about the world around us.